John Green, and this is Crash Course World History. Today we're going to talk about French colonization of the New World in the 17th century. As you've learned in previous episodes, Europe was in a frenzy to find a water passage to Asia, and instead they found the giant landmass now known as the Americas. Gosh darn it, Pangean plate tectonics! The Europeans then realized the abundance of natural resources in the New World, and they began to set up colonies to export these resources back to their home country. The French were a little late in getting the memo that colonization was the thing, and while Spain and Portugal were busy slaughtering Americans, the French finally established their first colony in modern-day Quebec in 1608. They eventually expanded their territory to include most of Canada and the interior U.S. The French used their territory for trading furs and converting natives to Christianity. However, they weren't as successful in settling their new territory and never really established colonies in the way that other Europeans did. Despite this, the French created a lasting impact on the region's culture, politics, and language. My nose is so itchy, I feel like I'm catching a disease the Europeans gave to the Indians.
Of course, major French exploration in North America began under Francis I, King of France. And, of course, as we said like a million times, they were able to establish a stronghold in Quebec. And through alliances with different Native American tribes, the French was able to exert a loose control over much of the North American continent. And then the government of the French of North America was always authoritarian, however, it wasn't really brutal, like Spain. So before 1627, there were 5 different viceroyalties, all of whom delegated their power to the same individual in Quebec, Samuel de Champlain. I hope that's right, Stan. Champlain continued to administer New France until his death in 1635, and then his successor was chosen by the King of France. And he was officially given the title the Governor of New France. Official. So later on, the Sovereign Council was created, and it was the highest kind of court in the land. So basically, the governmental body established by France in April 1663 for administering New France and its colony in what is now the St. Lawrence Valley of Canada. The council's power included the naming of judges, minor officials, control over the public and commerce in France, and the regulation of trade. So it was a big deal in France.
Is it already time for the secret compartment? An open letter to French food. But first, let's see what's in the secret compartment. A baguette? Wearing a mustache? Stan.
Dear French food, why do you have to claim everything that isn't yours? French fries, French toast, Julia Childs? None of them are yours! Are you kidding me right now? Why do you have to claim it? Just take everything. Is it because you couldn't establish your actual selves in American culture?
You need to stop being jealous of the Mexican and Italian foods just because they're staples of the American diet. I mean, who can live without pasta and tacos? But naming foods after yourselves just to be as cool as all the other foods in America, that's just going too far. I mean, what's wrong with being French? Why are you just happy being French? Best wishes, John Green.
The French economy in the New World consisted mainly of sugar production and fur trade. But in the mid-17th century, French Huguenots began settling in the north coast of what was first called Saint-Domingue, or what is now present-day Haiti. With its strategic location in the Caribbean, the French saw this land as a perfect place for sugar production and nicknamed it the Pearl of the Antilles, and by 1794 it was the richest island in all the Caribbean. It was the Indian tribes that actually hunted the animal pelts and then who later traded them with the French for European goods, who then brought them to Europe. This exchange, along with the fact that the French did not necessarily bring large populations to colonize the land like other European countries did, led to relatively peaceful relationships between the natives and the French. The French first established trading relations with the Indian tribes of Huron and later the Ottawa in eastern Canada by trading goods such as knives and kettles for animal fur, and beaver pelts in particular, which soon sparked a great demand in Europe for animal pelts, which then led the French to explore more of the interior of the continent, to find more fur, and an explorer named Samuel de Champlain established a trading post in present-day Quebec that would soon become a major fur trading center. After gaining control of land from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, the French had gained considerable wealth. With so much opportunity to gain wealth in the New World, conflicts were bound to arise. But don't worry, we'll get there.
Moving on to the social aspects in
Canada.
Let's go to the thought bubble.
When Samuel de Champlain founded Quebec, it seemed like there was no hope for a colony due to the harsh weather. 65% of the people journeyed back to France. The settlers who did stay in Quebec started fur trading colonies. Champlain allied himself with the Algonquin, Ottawa, and Huron natives hoping for protection. Champlain made young Frenchmen live with natives and learn their language, customs, and war tactics. Scoodly pooping was encouraged between natives and Frenchmen trying to increase population and promote positive relations. France even sent 700 single women to New France in hope of increasing population. French influence, along with disease, spread west and south among Huron tribes. In 1627, founded the Company of 100 Associates to invest in New France. This promised new land parcels to hundreds of new settlers in an attempt to turn Canada into an important mercantile and farming colony.
Thanks, Thought Bubble. The following account from a French priest shows the positive relationships between the French and the natives.
As soon as I was spotted from the village, the cry was raised by some, "Ekon is back." This is the name they gave me. Everyone rushed out to greet me and welcome me, each one calling me by name and calling, "Ekon, my nephew, my brother, my cousin, have you really come back to us?"
This positive relationship allowed the French to convert the natives to Christianity. Speaking of religion,
French Jesuits required anyone who wanted to come to their colonies to convert to Roman Catholicism. Some of the Protestant French colonists moved to British colonies because they did not want to convert. The way the French interacted with the Indians and their culture was fairly respectful, requiring only conformity of dress and conduct. The French were able to peacefully convert the Indians by learning their language and comparing the two religions and showing them that they were similar. They also allowed Christian natives to purchase guns as an incentive. Originally, the French Jesuits set up missions in order to convert the Hurons, and were successful until the Iroquois invaded in 1642 and killed 8 of the Jesuits. The French then decided to try to convert the Iroquois, and for 13 years they had missions in present-day New York. But because there's not peace between the groups, the missions were eventually abandoned.
So why is any of this important? Well, the French created a lasting impact mostly on Canada. They began a tradition of foreign rule that lasted so long it's present even today, though with the British. Canada and the UK are in a political partnership, and they both recognize the Queen as powerful, but in Canada her influence is more similar to Miley Cyrus than, say, Justinian, yet no brutal massacres going on in Canada. Also, the French left their language and religion. One of Canada's main religions is still French, and over 3/4 of the population is Christian. French influence even affected the United States. Louisiana has French and Cajun ancestry of food and culture, and many city names around that area are French, like Baton Rouge, definitely. The French left their mark on North America, even though they didn't control the territory for very long. However, their relatively small influence still affects daily life in Canada and the United States. But they definitely didn't have as significant of an impact on the Americas as Spain or England. But we'll get to that more next week. Thanks for watching! Crash Course is created by Kinsey, Lindsey, Laurie, Jaime, and Megan. As an afterthought, all of us.
Crash Course is based on the original Crash Course by John Green.
The script is written by all of us also.
Editor-in-chief is Megan, though of course we all helped.
And the music was played by Kinsey and Lindsey.
Thanks for watching!